Now, well, here's what I want to learn in this. We're not filming yet.
Okay,
I'm going to show you something here.
so pale, man.
But watch, I'll show you. We'll edit this clip. I'll show you what's up. I learned something. I don't care about that anymore now.
I care so much about it because...
Well, I don't because I know it's going to look like a post. Ooh. Okay, here we go. You ready?
Okay, yeah.
And we're back at it again. This time we're working on the Gator Twins video 2. We got Clyff and Rudy, his familiar buddy, coming up. Kyle, are you stoked?
I'm actually really pumped. Yeah, I like this one a lot.
I like this project. I like these characters. Check it out. What you're going to see in this video is you're going to watch us work through the process of working on the Clyff and Rudy character card with Kyle. He's going to explain a little bit of that so you get some insight there. And then we're going to shift over to the music and you get to watch me and hear me jam out some music for Clyff and Rudy, and you'll get to learn and experience some of that. So let's take a look inside. Let's look. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Us again.
I feel like I should say us again who? But I don't know if there's a good punchline to that.
There's not.
Yeah, it's just us again.
Yeah, set up for failure just like us.
Wow. Okay, bye.
All right, buddy, we're back with the Gator Twins video 2. I am basically reiterating the segment that was right before this, and I just realized that. Anyways, Kyle.
What's up?
We're doing Clyff and Rudy.
Clyff and Rudy, yeah.
Okay, so now with Clyff and Rudy here, what kind of inspiration did you draw for these characters?
So, for these characters, I was kind of thinking, the Gator Twins, they need that sort of mentor sort of character, but this is kind of a funny universe. I didn't want him to be just like that straightforward, like Gandalf wise, like wizard, Dumbledore kind of dude. I wanted him to be kind of quirky.
Gotcha.
So instead of going like full Gandalf and Dumbledore, I went like wizard, but I gave him the spin of like the old guy from Duck Dynasty.
That's perfect.
I don't even remember what it is. Sai, I think. I don't know.
Yep, that's his name, Sai. You're talking about the real old one, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
you grabbed some of that and out of there. Now, what about Rudy? What about his familiar? What is that thing?
That just kept... I went through a lot of different ideas for him. I didn't know, like, I knew I wanted him to be like a magical friend character, but at like one point it was like, should it just be like a crow? Should it be some kind of bird? And then through like talking to you and like kind of like bouncing ideas off of you were like, hey, what about a platypus?
That's right, I remember that now. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, okay, platypus, but he's still gotta be magical, even though platypuses are kind of like, if you could think of a fantasy creature that actually existed, platypus would definitely be top 3.
Yeah.
But I put wings on him anyways because he still had to fly, because why not?
Yeah, it's absurd as possible,
Yeah.
and I love it. Okay, now as far as your toolkit on this one, a lot of times you just end up doing very similar things, but was there anything, that any special differences in this particular instance?
No, nothing different really, just same old with starting out my sketchbook on actual paper with my pencils, just trying to get rough ideas, shapes, postures. Clyff was one of those guys where I wanted him to have a really relaxed, like specific kind of posture. So messing with his kind of like mannerisms and the way that kind of like his head and his robe draped on his form and stuff like that, I took a little extra time with, but other than that, nothing really different.
Okay, and that makes sense. I mean, at this stage in the project, you kind of got some of those ideas set already.
I just be drawing, dog.
Okay, now the next thing I want to ask you, and the final thing I want to ask you, is during the execution of this, was there anything that really stuck out as difficult or challenging, or, did you have to dust something off and bring it into this, or pretty much just like the Twins?
Yeah, it was mainly just like the Twins, is trying to make sure that while creating a human character that existed with like non-human characters, but still altogether human-like characters, trying to make sure that he didn't feel out of place, trying to make sure I stuck with my style that I had established for the universe. That was really all that I kind of had in mind going into this one.
Right on, brother. Okay, so appreciate the talk. That was pretty neat, and we're gonna have our music segment for good old Clyff and Rudy coming up next.
Nice. Guys, I'm in John's house, so naturally John is here with me. What's up, John?
Hello.
All right, so it's time to talk about the music. And I think there's no better place to start than to find out what inspired you for this character.
Well, initially I had in my mind when we conceptualized the Gator Twins, like I mentioned in the previous video, I had a song idea in my head, and then when I saw them, it all changed. Well, I had not thought musically past the Twins, so it was kind of like wide open when I was coming into Clyff and Rudy, and I needed to see them. Even after talking to you, I kind of needed to see them. I was like, you know what? I learned from the Gators. I need to hold off. I need to wait and see what you come up with. And then that way I can kind of figure out what I might need to do or not do to the music. And so with this, I wanted to give him like that. It's like you're sitting in a rocking chair, but everything around you smells like beer.
I weirdly know what you're talking about.
And so that's the kind of vibe I wanted to give the music to, where it's laid back, but it's got this little bit of just a twang to it, right? To keep with the southern and the swamp vibe, but
Got that dusty old screen porch kind of deal.
So that's kind of what's going on there.
I like it. All right, so that's your inspiration. What kind of tool chest you working with this time?
So I use the same instruments. I use my DAD guitar tuned to D-A-D-G-B-E, just standard tuning. And I use the bass 6 guitar for the bass guitar. And I just use my same drum setting. But I decided to take the distortion off because when I went and sat down and jammed out some stuff for the Wizard, it just seemed like it had too much pep and too much punch and too much rowdiness. And I thought, if he's going to be gray, he's going to be a little unkept, and in a stinky rocking chair. It needs to be laid back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It needs to give you that illusion that he's kind of settled. So I turned on a clean amp and just basically gave it, just a classic clean guitar kind of a sound that you would expect to hear on some older school music, but still kind of keeping that same scale that I use for the Twins so that it has a cohesive nature to what you hear versus what you heard.
Nice. So then with using the same kind of like tools and stuff like that, were there any other techniques or anything like that that you brought into this project to help your execution more, I guess, fit that vibe you're going for?
Yeah, and one of the things I kind of did with this was the timbre, if you'll notice. And so for those of you that don't know what that word is, in the musical term, that's essentially, the volume or the velocity or the power that exists. And so I pulled that way back, okay? Naturally, when you go clean, that's kind of what's going to happen. But I wanted to pull that way back for this. And so I'm playing everything real gentle. The drums I'm playing real soft. Everything I'm playing real soft. And believe it or not, that ends up being a little bit harder to execute when you're aiming to play soft, because it's very easy to misstep and get very aggressive, especially for a guy that's been playing metal guitar for, ever, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to pull back and make things sound clean and very precise when you're playing clean and when you're playing soft on top of it. So that's kind of what happened with the execution. And this is a simple song. I just kind of kept it to the one riff. If this was expanded into a scene, I would maybe add like another chord progression or something like that. But for the most part, for the time being, to fit what we got here, I left it at what you're gonna hear at the end of this.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, hey, look at that. We're looking at coming up on the end of this here, and so the what we're gonna do this time is a little bit different. Is we're gonna say bye to you right now.
Yeah.
So what you're getting ready to see is the character card for Clyff and Rudy, and you're going to hear his music that I created. And so you'll see both of our artistic visions come together. And you know what, brothers and sisters? We do appreciate you and love you very much. And we hope to see you come back next week.
Bye, guys.
Peace.